Okay, so those of you who have been around here know that we are in our 15th year as a congregation. This is coming up on our 15th Easter, so we're going to be 15 in October. My idea, celebrating the whole year. Why? Because do you know how many mainline progressive churches are ever founded anymore? Like about 0. I can think of 2 in our community that have been started in the last 35 years that are still going, and I started both of them. So that's okay, but that's all right. I mean, I'm kind of joking. There's got to be 1 or 2 more, but I can't really think of them. There's a lot of right-wing conservative churches where you can go and say all kinds of hateful anti-gay things, and we could look in anywhere around here, but starting a church with a wide open vision. And so we should pat ourselves on the back, right? Because it's not been the easiest thing. Today, Ellie and Alex, who have been with us the whole 15 years, going on the 15 years, are going to kind of share thoughts and reflections. But before that, I want to just mention that in October, when we kicked this off, I preached a sermon and talked about, like in the creation stories, through all the faith traditions, creation can either kind of come out of, it can come out of nothing, ex nihilo, or it can come out of chaos. And I was like, I've started 2 churches, one out of nothing, one out of chaos, and they both have their challenges. So when Peace was started, this is kind of the backdrop, because I think anytime we do anything, it takes grace and it takes grit. It takes a lot of hard work, but it also takes like a lot of just mystery and blessing and things lining up that you could never even make happen, right? And so at the time, right before we founded Peace Church, I was pastoring a church I'd been at 21 years, 1,000 members, 600 people in 3 worship services, too crowded, we were building. And so I asked Ellie and Alex, can you help start a 4th worship service in another location? Because, we needed more space. And they were like, yes. Well, then, blah, 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 blah. A couple people said she shouldn't be the pastor there anymore. So then I went to Ellie and Alex and I said, remember how we were going to start that new worship service? Can we start a new church? And they said yes. And if we were putting a pamphlet together about what it takes to do something, they said yes. And they said yes, and I was thinking, what if they hadn't said yes? If they'd said no? I had a couple of churches, in Texas, and I probably would have gone. And then Paula, who then came along and went to seminary and became a pastor, and now is a great bookseller, author, and gives some of the credit to this. That wouldn't happen. We wouldn't be here, right? We would all be scattered to the winds. We wouldn't have found this home for us, but they said yes. And the thing about yes is then other people said yes, right? Everybody who came along and everyone who keeps coming along keeps doing stuff that often they've never done. I've never said the prayer. I've never done this. I've never done that, but people are stepping up. And the other thing about that was they said yes before they knew what they were doing. They said yes before they knew what they were getting into, really. They had no idea that was going to mean for more than 8 years a morning service out south and an evening service downtown, and schlepping stuff out of the Buddhist temple, out of an empty lot, after the coffee shop, out of Barstow, out of all these places until we've been here, going on 13 years. And also, to bring it back around to Scripture, do you remember that great scene in Exodus? Moses comes down with the 10 Commandments and the 613 other laws that are buried there in the Hebrew Bible. And the rabbis always point this out, that Moses begins to give them to the people, and the people say, all that God says, or all that you said, we will do. They say yes before Moses even opens his mouth, right? And that's just kind of something rabbinic lore always points out, that they said yes before they'd even heard what the dadgum commandments were, right? And so I think there's a lot in that, right? Like saying yes, whether it's standing at the altar or deciding to be a parent or deciding we're going to take this country back. We don't know how, right? But you have to just say yes and step up. So we're thankful for your blessing, your care, the fact that we're here. Thank you. Yes.